Welcome to Screen Chat on RiotRadio.ca. I'm your host Justin, and Screen Chat is your show for everything Marvel movies, DC Comics, Star Wars adaptations, and much, much more. Today we have a very exciting episode as I'm joined today behind the scenes with Eldin. As always, Eldin, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And so today we are going to be talking Star Wars. More specifically, Eldin behind the scenes is going to be talking Star Wars in our next segment as he's going to be joining on the air. And we're just going to keep this one short and sweet from myself because I do want to discuss some news, I guess. But it is finally the debut of The Acolyte. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a good second half, good segments. As like I said, Eldin is going to be on camera hosting this as it's long overdue. We've teased this episode for so long now. And it's finally here. It works out that today in the studio is myself and Eldin for the premiere of The Acolyte. So we will, I won't touch too much upon that as I don't want to dwell. Eldin, I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll hear from you from Star Wars in a bit. But just to open up today's show, just have some news to talk about. Now, two very intriguing projects we got a closer look at the last week, I guess, this week. One of them being from Marvel, the other from Amazon. So we'll jump into Marvel as we finally got the first looks at the trailer to Venom 3: The Last Dance. Now, this will, if they don't lie to us, this will be Tom Hardy's last appearance movie as Venom, and we do have a nice shot there. I didn't get too much from the trailer just because it just came out, so there wasn't a lot to grab that wasn't like copyrighted, I guess. First initial thoughts, Eldin, on the trailer. I know I didn't really do a good job giving an introduction there, but that kind of sums up my thoughts. Opening thoughts on Venom 3.
I think you have to watch it to really understand, but it's, from what I understand, the symbiotes are coming for some reason for Venom and just for Venom, which doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
We kind of know who we think we're going to get. Toxin, maybe Anti-Venom. But we have characters who are already in the Marvel universe that are now playing characters in like the Sony Marvel universe, which I'm not entirely happy with.
Yeah, no, I don't love it.
Yeah, and it just doesn't seem like Let There Be Carnage was terrible. I kind of forget. When I think about Venom, I think of the first movie, and I forget about the second movie because I just did not enjoy it.
I'm with you on that.
So I'm a little nervous about this one, but I think Tom Hardy does a great job as playing Eddie Brock. I just don't know if I'm even excited for this.
I'm totally with you on it. I feel like in 2024, we're talking Venom 3, and like no hate to Venom, but I didn't think we'd get a trilogy, and I also didn't think the movies would be bad. I didn't even love Venom 1, to be honest. Like, it wasn't great. I say this because I'm the Morbius, I guess, endorser, but Morbius to me was better than Venom and Venom 2. I didn't love Venom 2 either, considering that we got the tease of Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy, I think that's his name, I forget. And Cletus Cassidy. And then, like, the movie itself was not good, and it was not good enough to get a sequel. What it actually felt like to me was they just wanted to put something on for 90 minutes and then give us the after credit scene teasing Tom Hardy into the MCU, making an appearance in No Way Home, which he, I guess, did, but didn't really because it was just another after credit scene. I think with the whole Venom project as a whole, I'm not saying it's failed because clearly it's been making the money. They're doing their third movie. Will Venom finally be put into the MCU? Well, I thought so, but then it appears that in the trailer, the U.S. agent or FBI agent, sorry, that's actually played by the same actor that plays Mordo in the MCU that Eldin was kind of alluding to. It seems like he kind of captures the symbiote that Venom leaves in the MCU. I don't know what they're doing with that. It just kind of seems not all over the place, but not good or cool enough for us to do an in-depth discussion. So before we move on to the next part I wanted to discuss, we're 3 Venom movies in, and there's still no sign of Spider-Man. Will we be getting a Spider-Man? Will it be Tom Holland? Will it be Andrew Garfield? Will it be Tobey? Will it be a new actor? I don't know. I think when you see Morbius kind of tease Spider-Man, because we see, I guess, the Vulture, who knows this Spider-Man on the screen here right now. And then we also see photos of Tobey Maguire throughout the city. We see Oscorp. But there's still no Spider-Man in the universe, I guess presumed, because we haven't seen him. A lot of rumors that would be Andrew Garfield and be the same character, but there's other confirmations saying it's not. I don't know. It's just kind of all over the place, and it's not something that I necessarily now need. I feel like Spider-Man as a franchise has just been growing and growing and growing without Venom, and like that kind of sucks to say, but like, you know, if we're gonna be honest here, you're looking at the Spider-Verse films, the MCU films, the video games. Like, we have 3 Spider-Man video games in its own franchise as well. So with that being said, I just feel like Venom, or I should say Tom Hardy's Venom, is kind of just falling behind, and I'm kind of happy it's kind of ending. Before I fully wrap it up, you teased this earlier, I think we both want to see Null in this film somehow. At this point, right? I wouldn't necessarily say.
Yeah, like we got Null was teased, like we'll say like teased light in Thor: Love and Thunder, because this what do you call it? The symbiote blade is made by Null. So Null makes the symbiote blade, and then Gore the God Butcher gets it. So like he's got to be around.
He has to be.
And like, if they're coming from the planet, why aren't they here now? Like, what, if the symbiotes are coming, then what's the purpose? Venom's in the first movie. Venom was like the least favorite. He was like the unwanted 5th kid. Like that's kind of how they treated him. Like, he was just like, they were like, oh, this guy, he's a loser. And like, that's not really what Venom's supposed to be either.
Exactly.
And I think here's my issue with the whole, like, I'll go back to the picture of Venom and Spider-Man. Like,
I love it.
Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock is not the guy to fight Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like, if he wants to team up with him, yes. But he's not the guy to fight. Like, this Eddie Brock is too awkward. He's too... I don't want to say honest, but, like, he's not...
Yeah, I was going to say he's too civil.
Yeah, he is. So, like, and, like, the old Eddie Brock was a bully who then got older and was still a bully. And, like, not a good person until he had a kid, and then he had to get better. But, like, and that's when he's also, like, Agent Venom, not just Venom. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think we're gonna get Spider-Man though.
I'm with you, unfortunately. So yeah, that's just our initial thoughts on Venom 3: The Last Dance. We'll probably do more of an in-depth discussion over the coming weeks, but nothing too crazy right now, and nothing, like I said, that I really want to prioritize. And before you fully wrap up the segment, this is what I'm excited for, as we're finally getting looks at season 4 of The Boys, with more posters and trailers coming out. Eldin is doing the Homelander stance behind the scenes here, and I'm really excited. We are about a week away, because I believe it is next Thursday when this comes out, and I'm very excited for this, as The Boys is one of just the best TV shows around right now, period. Not even just on Amazon, just in general. And probably in comparison to other medias that we get, one of the most unique things you will ever watch, especially as like a superhero fan. I feel like the cool thing that that Amazon does well, is that they have something like Invincible as well, with The Boys also on, and I feel like it doesn't feel stale. And with Invincible 2 coming out this year, that we discussed already as it was coming out, we now jump into The Boys, which is a bit darker in my opinion. I don't think that's really a hot take. And now we get the 4th installment of The Boys, taking place after the events of Gen V. Now, for some context, Gen V takes place 2 weeks before the start of The Boys. So if you haven't seen Gen V, I won't spoil it, because you still have a week. Eldin's in that boat as well. So if you know, though, what happens at the end of Gen V, it's like, okay, cool, I'm really hyped for this, because like I've seen it. Eldin, just coming back to you. I know you're a big fan of this franchise and of The Boys. Are you like really excited for this, or what are your thoughts?
So, I kind of stuck with it. I put up the other picture we had of Homelander and the girl who can make people's heads blow up. I like the show, but it's also like, it's so, in my opinion, jarring. Like, watching the seasons, like, you have these heroes that aren't dirtbags, and you have heroes that are dirtbags, and they're almost like a godlike complex. But like, I hate Homelander with a burning passion. Like,
Anthony Starr.
The 7 are terrible.
And
I'm
like, totally with you on that.
Maeve is no longer part of the 7. Starlight's still kind of there. But then, like, they had this whole thing where, like, they blew up the tower. Like, what's going on now? Like, Black Noir's gone. The Deep's gone.
What?
Yeah,
no, I'm joking.
I don't think he's in it anymore. And Homelander's now just, like, using his vision on random civilians. So, like, what's going to happen here? Like, it's very interesting. I'm pumped to see it. I think this will be the final season. I think this will be...
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, like, Soldier Boy was cool.
Jensen...
Yeah, having all the guys like have like superpowers was really cool too, but I think that's it. I think that's it for us, unfortunately.
Now, I'm a really big fan of this franchise. Eldin specifically has really pushed me to watch it, so have other friends and family throughout the years, and I really do enjoy it. Like, I love the Deep, one of my favorite characters in all of superhero media. Just he's so funny, honestly, and I hope he's in it. I don't know if he is. Just staying on the deep right now. One of my favorite characters. I would have pulled up a photo, but like I didn't really want to dive too in depth to this. And
I wouldn't let him.
What?
I wouldn't let you put up a picture of the deep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
and you notice that turn of phrase when you don't want to dive too deep into it. Did you mean to do that?
I guess we'll never know.
Oh God.
But I love the Deep. What a great character. And when you look at other characters too in the show, such as the A-Train and the Butcher, like they have their complexes aren't necessarily original, like the idea, I mean, because like obviously A-Train's like the Flash, the Deep is like Aquaman, but then the way they project themselves is just amazing to me. And then with Homelander, you know, we kind of see he's like the polar opposite of like, let's say, a Superman. So I do enjoy it. Season 4 comes out next Thursday, so we'll for sure talk about that over the next coming weeks. But yeah, I don't want to dilly-dally. As much as I love talking about The Boys and The Deep and Venom, the main event of the evening's coming up. So after the music break, we'll be discussing The Acolyte on this special episode of Screenshot The Acolyte Hour. And our favorite Star Wars enthusiast, Eldin, will be hopping on, and I'm really excited for this. This is going to be really good. So for context, I don't even know Eldin's full thoughts. I told him to save it for the episode. So I'm really excited for that. But until then, we're going to play you some music. Here is Like Saturn with I Don't Mind, live from the Media Hub on ratradio.ca.
Hello and welcome back to Screenshot. You just heard you heard Like Saturn, I Don't Mind, which is funny because we're going to go into the subject that I very much do mind on. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just hate on The Acolyte. I know it's been a run-on joke that I'm not impressed by it by any means before it even came out. And that's not what you're here to see. You're not here to hear me complain about it. I am going to talk about the last 2 episodes, so if you haven't seen The Acolyte yet, I highly recommend. This is the spoiler part of the sequence we've done in the last couple of weeks. Do not watch this. I'm going to talk about Acolyte episode 1 and 2. I'm going to go in depth. With that being said, Justin, I think I'm ready. So, are you ready?
Oh, I'm definitely ready for this.
Okay. So, if you want to throw up the Acolyte little picture there. So, we have Star Wars' newest show out this year, The Acolyte. Now, kind of a bittersweet, or it's having a rough go recently. It falls into, I just want to touch on the fact that I don't think any of us out there in the land of movies or TV shows really trust Rotten Tomatoes anymore. I don't think it's getting review bombed. I think it's not an amazing product by any means, but I think there's actually some pretty good gems in it. So on the picture there, I guess the promo, we have Cal Naka, who's the Wookiee, so I'm going to move right to left. We have Soul. I don't even know what his last name is. It's just Master Soul. X-23, kind of cool. Logan's daughter. And then we have May. Just May. It goes to show, like, I'm very ingrained in these shows, and it goes to show how much I don't know, because I'm not looking into these characters because I'm not interested. Very interesting so far. I'm going to just like put it down into like kind of the history and about like what's been going on with the Acolyte, and we'll talk about it. So we had one of the reasons why it's had such a rocky start, I think, is we have actors who don't know what they're talking about. Justin, you've seen the notorious I guess interview of the actor who plays, I don't know what his name is.
I forget his name too.
Yeah, okay. So one of the Jedis, I really feel bad for this, but like one of the Jedi that you see throughout the series so far, the first 2 episodes, he was quoted in an interview twice saying that Anakin blew up the Death Star. Which I got a conversation talking with this. If you were to say that Darth Vader aided in destroying the Death Star, I would agree. He didn't shoot Luke down. Luke destroyed the Death Star. Then he says, we killed like 1 million people. How can it be good and bad? Star Wars is based on good and bad. Justin, good and bad, light side, dark side.
Yep.
Grey Knights are the only knights that are in that middle. And people like the Bintu, or people like these Force entities that are in the middle. But they are good and a bad side for a reason. So that's one of the starts of this. When you have bad publicity before the show comes out, it makes it harder to watch, because I don't want to watch it to support this actor. Now, I will say, though, the actor who plays Soul was in Squid Games, which I have not seen. He learned English, supposedly. He learned English for this role, and he based his character a lot off of Qui-Gon Jinn. That alone is fantastic. Qui-Gon Jinn is the Jedi that's closest to true neutrality. He sees that both the light side and the dark side have their aspects that work for people, and he finds that tippy-toeing on that line is not a bad way to do it. The actor who plays Soul does a great job. I would not, if you had told me he had learned English just to play this role, I wouldn't believe you, because he speaks, his English is very clear, very concise, and he's doing a great job so far. With that being said, first episode. So, first episode, we have, it jumps us right into it. We have this character who we've seen through the trailers, May, who you don't really know her name. She looks like the Acolyte. You have her entering a small town, we'll say, and paying a child, maybe a child, I don't really know, to say, like, where's your Jedi? First of all, I just want to say this, I'm going to nitpick a lot, so if I might get annoying, and I'm very sorry for that. Why is there just a Jedi Master stationed in some random saloon on a planet? It's not even a city. It's not even like a big capital city. Why is there a random Jedi in a bar in the middle of nowhere? It's not even a temple. It's literally a saloon. So that being said, the kid's just like, yeah, Jedi's in the saloon. Go find her. And she's like, thanks, kid, and like drops some money in there and just walks away. First of all, I'm just gonna base this off of like Darth Maul. When Sidious was training him, Darth Maul went around and like assassinated targets without weapons, and he did like all this crazy stuff. That's what I expected. I didn't expect this woman, and I'm gonna do the thing, Justin. She walks into the bar, walks right up the table. She's like, Jedi Master Indara, and then she does this like Indara. She's Jedi Master Indara. Strike me with like whatever all your strength, and it's just like what is this? Are we watching Power Rangers? Like, what is this? Like, strike me with all your strength. And then it's like, it's almost like making fun of itself, because then all the characters at the table with Indara laugh at her. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, what? You're a Sith acolyte. You're supposed to be this assassin. What? Asajj Ventress never did that. Maul, Savage, Count Dooku, Anakin, like Darth Vader. I have never seen a Sith ever do that, and it's like really cringy. Like I expected, like, and that's kind of like the kind of tone of the first bit of the episode is. It almost feels like I'm watching, Saturday morning cartoons, like the Power Rangers, or I guess like live action, which isn't the best. There's this really, I'm not gonna say the fight scene is actually amazing. The choreography is fantastic. If anyone tells you anything about this, like any of the Shining Pearls choreography, Justin, what do you think? The whole like. I saw somebody call it Jedi Fu, or like Force Fu, which is really stupid. It's not they're trained in hand-to-hand combat. Justin, what did you think about that first little saloon brawl?
Yeah, I will say, not to repeat everything you just said, but it was kind of silly that they all laughed at her after making the entrance. Yeah. Horrible writing, in my opinion. That should have been like, okay, let's get out of the bar, and then y'all could throw down. But yeah, once the fight actually commenced, I didn't even mind it. I thought it was good, like close to close combat, if you will. Hand-to-hand combat is what I should say. And the only thing that I like didn't love, I guess, was maybe the initial like ignorance from Indara of like, oh, like I'm a Jedi, like who are you? And then like she kind of makes quick work, which was good, but then like I don't know, well, you'll talk about it, but I didn't like the end of it at all. But I thought the start of the fight and like the good chunk of the middle was good. Like I was like, yeah, like I could get behind this. It didn't seem low budget or low quality. It actually seemed like, okay, cool, despite like the horrible start of her getting laughed at after doing the Power Ranger dance. At least she came to fight. So I actually enjoyed that. But then you could tell us all what happened at the climax of this.
All right, so big brawl. Of course, the classic. But even before the brawl's over, the classic, guy goes to pull a gun out, gets stuck in his holster for some reason, and, the Sith Acolyte, really cool segment, kicks a table up and then just force pushes it and crushes him against the bar. Really cool. I like that. Then it's this fight with Indara. Indara is very much like, just like like a kung fu master in the sense, but like, they're Jedi. They're based off of a ton of other things, so it's not just kung fu. And she's just kind of pushing her aside. Like, nope, okay, I'm not going to do this. And the entire time her lightsaber is very much on her hip. And I will say at one point, for writing, as bad as I think the writing is for the first episode, it would make sense if the Jedi are so disillusioned with the Sith being a thing that they didn't feel that she was a threat. They're peacekeepers. It's quote unquote a peaceful time, but it's really not a peaceful time. Those 100 years before this, the Sith have been eradicated, quote unquote, for quite a while, but there's still dark elements. There's still people who do bad things. So I can't see the Jedi being like, meh, what's this one, right? What's this crazy chick off of this planet? Like, what's this mean? So I didn't like that aspect of it. But cool fight scene. You have the Sith Acolyte properly using hostages, because Jedi, the flaw in all of them is that they are defenders. They're here for peace. So she uses a hostage, and Indara has to do this cool jump and run, and then she just lets the hostage go for some reason. Like didn't even bother. Like I would have just been like, yeah, and then gone with it. Like make a statement. But this Sith Acolyte isn't taking lives. She's there for one reason, which is also very strange too, because in all the other Sith Acolytes you've seen, they do more damage. They don't leave witnesses, because the Sith don't want people knowing they're there. They work in the shadows until they know how to act. Why did Palpatine work so well? Because no one saw it coming. And that's kind of the point. So you had all this going on. Then you have this scene where the bartender's still there for some reason. I don't really understand why he's still there. He's like, man, I gotta make sure I can get the insurance claim. And he makes a pot and pan fall, and then the assassin throws a dagger at him. And Indara does this whole thing where she's like, even though you're in active combat, you just stop paying attention and just grab and like force grab the dagger. Don't even like push it out of the way. Which would be fine. You can push it out of the way, no issues. You force grab the dagger and hold it there as if like it's some force is dragging you. And I want to mention the spot before. She pulls her lightsaber out to deflect a bunch of daggers. The daggers would have melted. You don't cut through them. They would have melted. That's why the Mandalorians used slug throwers, because when you're shooting at a Jedi with actual like pellets, when you deflect them, they melt. And then it sprays, and it's really bad, and it's really scary. That didn't happen. And then you have her pull her lightsaber out, and I think it's the fourth stance, like Obi-Wan stance, where she's like this. And then you have the assassin just go, a Jedi doesn't pull her, or draw her weapon unless she means to kill. Justin, have you ever heard that ever? Is that new to me?
Yeah, that really confused me. It was like one of those lines where it's like I feel like it was written to try and sound cool, but like I haven't heard that before, and I don't think that that's really true. Yeah. Like we've seen countless times where it would just be like just drawing the lightsaber as a use of defense, like you mentioned, and especially at this time too, because like it's 100 years before Episode 1. The Jedi were, I mean, at least I was under the impression they're much more like peaceful now than they were in like the Yoda days. So I didn't know where that came from, if that makes sense. Like I always was under the impression that historically the Jedi were more like religious peacekeepers. So if that's the era that we're in, I'm kind of surprised that they dropped that in. That kind of retconned some stuff.
Yeah, and I find like Indara's a master. If it was just a Jedi Knight, that's one thing. But she's a master. Why is she in this salon? Why is she at this bar? And then she's toying with her the entire time. If you really thought this person was a threat, why wouldn't you just force push her against a wall and hold her there? Like that's what I really didn't understand. Like what makes the Jedi so powerful is their ability to think outside the box. And Indara just came off as like cocky and unassuming and not really knowing what to do. And then you have this moment where, again, the dagger's thrown, and Indara catches the dagger with the force. Don't know why you just push it out of the way. And then she gets stabbed in the heart. That's the end of the fight. Just stabbed in the heart. That's it. And then she just walks away. And then she goes to collect her dagger from the bar, and she's like, I'm going to kill the bartender. And then he's a little child. And the little child's like, please, no. And then nothing. She's just, okay, cool. See ya. You don't want people to know who you are. What? Like, what is happening? It's just like bad writing in my sense. Like, when have we ever had this in a Star Wars story where like you let witnesses go? If you're a bad person, you don't leave witnesses to tell the story unless you want to. And at this point, here's a big thing too. Let me transition to a Trade Federation ship, which I thought was really cool. I love the Trade Federation. We talked about it. This is a really cool way to go. We have Nemoidians, the really weird looking green guys with the funky eyes. They're there. Now you see her again. You're like, oh my god, how does she get to the ship so fast? Wait a minute, plot twist. She's a twin. And that twin has some things that are missing. Like she has a big, like, it's almost like a scar, like a dotted scar, how they do like some like old kind of style tattoo-esques, where it's like ritual markings that she doesn't have. And it's just kind of showing her on the Trade Federation ship. I don't care about the Trade Federation ship. It was a cool callback to Episode 1 and 2 and 3, technically, and even Dark Pelagius's Empire and Palpatine's Empire, but it doesn't do much for the story. Jedi show up, you're like, yeah, she committed a crime. She killed the Jedi. How would she have killed the Jedi? How would she have got there? She's on the Trade Federation ship. They could just check where she was. And the Jedi are like, you killed her. So matching your description did it. And it's like, well, how? How could I have gotten off the ship and gotten to this planet and then gotten back in the time it took me to go do a bar fight, do a whole choreography, like dance scene, save the bartender, go back, and how did the Jedi get in that short period of time, that one day, or even a night, how did they get from Coruscant to this planet, get the bartender, find where this girl works, fly to the ship with the bartender, land on the ship, investigate it, find her, and then it's all been 24 hours, not even? I wish our police services worked that fast.
Yeah, it was definitely something. I was like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, horrible writing in the sense of to what Eldin just said. We see her again. It's like, oh, plot twist, it's her twin. We didn't even really see the twin live without this, I guess, accusation. I would have much rather them hash out a little story for 10-15 minutes, and then it's the end of day. The Jedi have now found us, the end of next day. It would make sense. And then even to Eldon's point, I was saying this to him as someone who grew up with twin brothers. So twins to me, I'm used to them. I understand how they look similar, I guess at first glance, but living with twins my whole life, my brothers to me don't look alike. Oshia, she has, that's the twin's name, she has short dreads, if you will, and then May has long dreads and multiple facial features such as the tattoo thing that Eldon mentioned that look different enough for me to be how did they think it was her? For all the reasons Eldon said, plus that too, I'm they don't even actually look that much alike. I understand that it's the same actress, but when one has significantly longer hair, pieces in her hair, the tattoo, and was also just not present. And another thing that I said to Eldon as well is that I really liked the mannerisms of the actress, the way she plays both. You could tell they're different. Yeah. So Oshia doesn't even walk the same way that May does, or she doesn't even conduct herself the same way that May does. So I thought it was a little stupid, and these aren't just troopers. These are the Jedi. How are the Jedi this stupid and this ignorant?
Yeah, Jedi Knight and Padawan.
Yeah. So I did not get sold by that at all. And maybe for me specifically, it's because I grew up with twins. However, to the anyone could see that. It's not I just gave you some revelation. Yeah. It is clearly there.
So then we pan over to Coruscant. Really cool. Coruscant's here, Jedi Temple. I have a picture of the the Padawans here. This room will play an integral role in Episode 3. You will see this room again, or a room like this, and Anakin will be the master there. That being said, though, I like this cool sequence. You see Sol. You finally meet Sol. He's teaching these students. Close your eyes, open your mind to the Force. What do you feel? One edgy kid's like, I feel fire. It burns everything around it. And Sol's like, oh my god, this kid's crazy. Well, the Force is pretty powerful, but don't look into it too much. And it's this whole thing where it's okay, one kid's like, I feel life. I feel this. And then you got the edgelord who's like, it's fire. What do you think of that, Justin? Just that little thing. I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I think it was pretty cool too. I'll leave this up here. The one thing that I do like is about this specific scene is not just the callback to Episode 3, like you mentioned. It almost gives, I guess, the younglings a sense of relatability, because you don't really you do see the younglings in the prequels, but we know what happens to them.
Skywalker.
But I feel as someone that was, even just comparing it to high school, I was in high school 4 years ago, so 4, 5, 6, and 7 years ago. I remember being in class and not knowing certain things, and when you would hear, I guess, a problem, my answer was never usually right. So I could kind of relate to be oh, I would have been that kid that said, oh, the fire, it burns. It's not the point of the lesson at all, but I thought it was pretty cool, to be honest.
And I think it's great to see younglings. And then you have, I didn't get the picture of her because I don't think we need a picture of Brainiac. Then you get, what is even her name anymore?
So
Venestra Rowe.
Venestra Rowe, yeah.
But they always call her Master Venestra instead of Master Rowe. And Justin and I were talking about this beforehand. We're very certain that certain Jedis do have that. Like Master, like Plo Koon is never just, he's always Master Plo, for obvious reasons. And then you have like, you know, Yoda's just Master Yoda, but we don't really know if he has a first name or a last name. He's just Yoda. It's like Cher. And then we, like, again, like Master Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Master Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker. Like, what is Venestra Rowe? It's kind of nitpicking, I know, but it's just kind of strange. And Master Soul, we don't even know if he's a first name or last name. Is Soul first or last? Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's, for me, total nitpick, like you just said. But I'll be that guy. Because, like, in stuff like this with Star Wars, you kind of have to be that guy. And I hate nitpicking. But when it comes to, I guess, a prequel and not a sequel, you kind of have to look at the continuity. Venestra Rowe in the comics and in the stories was really cool, and I don't know what she grows up to be, but it's definitely not this. So if we had like as they say, a biblically accurate Venestra Rowe, I would not be upset to be like, yeah, it's Master Venestra. But like, they totally change her character up. They change up her look. They change up her age.
She looks like Brainiac.
Yeah, and now it's like this random is pulling up on my boy Soul and is like, you know, oh, I can't say that term, but she's just hating. Yeah. So it's like,
she very much. So what she does is she comes in and it's almost like Karen. Like,
yep,
your Padawan just killed a Jedi. What are you gonna do about it? You have to go find her. And it's like, A, good morning. B, are you sure it's her? Because then even Soul's like, it can't be her. Like, it can't be. It couldn't be her because she's not that kind of person. And Venestra's like, well. And Venestra's not a Jedi like they're all Jedi masters. Venestra is not like Yoda. She doesn't like hold this. She shouldn't be holding the seat in the council. So if all of a sudden Venestra Rowe is like, I'm in charge, when did that happen? When did any of this move on? Why did this happen? First of all, again, I'm gonna nitpick totally. Looks like Brainiac from Superman. Doesn't have the braid. Doesn't have any hair. Her character just comes off as really whiny and really, I'm not gonna say immature, but like unthinking. Like taking everything at face value. The Jedis are known to think outside the box. We know that at the heyday of the Jedi Republic, again, especially against the Sith, they had to think constantly about what was real and what was being like told to you. And you even see Mace Windu. You see all like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin, all these characters who are mainstream, they have to not just take things at face value. If anything the Clone Wars show taught me, it's that everything that happens in that Clone Wars TV show makes you think of something else. When the director said that she was basing a lot of stuff off the Clone Wars, or at least using the Clone Wars as kind of an idea, where has that been so far? Then we get Soul, we pan back over to a prison break scene. I'm not even going to bother with the prison break scene. It was really stupid. Like, they have a guy in the prison who can just hack the droids and release himself. That's cool, I guess. I don't know. You have this weird guy with like a tentacle for a head that can just rip the arm off the droid. That's cool, I guess. I don't know. It was a really dumb idea. We have our good twin who saves a prisoner, and he's like, "Whoa!" It was like a Looney Tunes man. Like whenever you go back and watch Looney Tunes and have Bugs Bunny like freak out, it was very much that. Like, he just jumped up and it just ran to escape pod. That was it. Ship crashes. Somehow she survives. Okay, that's cool. Whatever. Again, it was a really stupid sequence. You have this dream sequence where she's like meeting her twin, and at this point, they don't really explain that. And that's the thing too. They never explain that May and what's her name again? Osha?
I think, or is it Osha?
I think it's Osha.
Okay, maybe it's Osha.
Yeah, Ontario Safety Hazards and whatever. Yeah, Osha. So we have Osha and May, and they don't explain that. Like, they keep saying that her whole family died, but you assume it was the two of them that survived. And they don't explain until like later in the episode that Osha thinks May's dead and May thinks Osha's dead. That would have been great to experience. So I knew that, because at first when I first met Osha, I'm like, oh, is the twin pretending to be Osha? Like, is she like, oh, I was never there? Or is she setting Osha up? That's great. That's how you win. Yeah, I was my twin. She did it. I'm going to do whatever I want in the background and just blame Osha. Cool. Never doesn't happen. They find Osha on this planet. You got Soul. You got X-23. You got the dude who has a shirt off and he's steaming his Jedi robes for some strange reason. I think it's supposed to be comical, but it just seems really dumb. Like, they probably have a Jedi laundry. Why you have to steam your robe?
Yeah, he's my least favorite character so far. In the meantime, I just Googled the cast list just so we have it. So that character is called Yord Fandar. I hate him.
We don't like Yord.
I said to Eldin after I watched the episodes, for lack of better words, it's poor representation in the sense of like, I don't know what they're trying to gain by like making a Jedi Knight, because he's not even a Jedi Master. It's like it's a Jedi Knight act the way he does, in the sense of like he tries calling shots, he tries stepping to masters, and then like he does that. What in what world do Jedi Knights act like that? You know?
Like they're supposed to be like out in the front lines.
So I don't know. It's not like he hasn't really represented the Star Wars lore well, and this is also the same dude that was saying the stuff about Anakin as well that you mentioned earlier. So overall, I hate that character.
Yeah. My favorite interview was when X-23 just told him to shut up. She's like, just stop talking. She's like, maybe you should just stop talking. And I was like, yes, say that. Thank you. Anyway, so a really cool sequence where you have a Sith. You finally see a pan over to a Sith, and May's like, you killed a Jedi without using a weapon. That's so cool. You have to do it 4 more times. Answer my riddles 3. And like you don't see it's like wearing a helmet. He looks like Merrick. He looks a lot like Merrick. It can't be Merrick. It should be Darth Tenebrous. If it's not, I'm gonna cry. Because this is, we know, actively in canon, not Legends. If it was Legends, I'd be like, hey, do your thing. But it's canon that we know that Darth Tenebrous and Pelagius are alive this time. So, okay. Then we go back, they say, they get, Osha. May goes and poisons this Jedi Master who has like a force field around him. He happily takes the poison. I'm assuming they're going to open up and tell us why he does it. It was really dumb to have a Jedi Master who's like, oh, I am really sorry that I did something terrible to your family. I'll drink poison now. Goodbye.
Yeah, I also want to jump in here too, which actually made me infuriated. Yeah. So for some context too, when May pulls up on him in the temple, he's meditating and he has a force field around him. It was so cool. Yeah. You don't really see stuff like that a lot, and I thought it was awesome. And then when Sol was saying to the other dude there, hey, let me go talk to him, it was Jedi Master Tobin, right? Is that his name? Or how do you say it?
Sol?
No, the guy that was meditating.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was him. They're like, he hasn't spoke to anyone in 10 years. And I was like, oh, so he's been meditating for 10 years. He's been able to have this field around him. This is pretty cool. Within like 30 seconds, he wakes up and talks to her. And then just consciously drinks this poison and kills himself. Yeah. So you mean to tell me I just saw one of the coolest things personally that I've seen in Star Wars? Like, I'm going to give it its flowers. I thought it was awesome. Yeah. And the way she tried to break into the force field and couldn't. So he hasn't spoken to anyone in 10 years. Who knows what he was thinking of, because he doesn't elaborate. You don't know. All we get is, I was waiting for you. What? How? Like, what's the relevance? Like, we don't really know. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. So a 10-year meditation gets ended, and in a blink of an eye, this guy's killing himself. Like, he's dead. He takes the poison. He's like, I'm sorry. And even the one guy, and this kind of goes to like what we said in the bar, like, it just makes fun of itself. He just goes, why would Master kill himself? It's like, that's legit what they say. That's legit what they say. So I just, oh man, I hated that whole scene too. I don't want to sound like nitpicky or hating,
but you have to be, right?
Like, it's like it took a step forward with that cool scene and then takes like 3 steps back and like kills him in that way. And it was just, and then it was Osha walking in, and it was like, this is not what it looks like. I could explain. It's like, dude, it sounds so corny.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, then you have, oh my God, Yord shows up and he's like, no, I was following her, because Yord doesn't trust her. That's cool. Yord, I get you, man. I don't trust her. That's cool. He's like, I followed her. It wasn't her. And everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, all right. So then who killed her? May, my evil twin sister. Oh my God. And then it's like this, and this is the thing about retconning twins. They never retcon. If you look at quote unquote the canon, there's only 2 sets of twins that have the Force, but Jedi twins and twins with the Force powers or Force sensitivity has been a thing in Star Wars for a long time. In the comics, in the video games, it's there. In the books, it's there. So you don't. If you're gonna die on a hill, don't die on the hill of they retconned the first twins in Star Wars, because they didn't. Like, Luke and Leia were shown to be the first twins, but then if you read the books and you read the comics and you watch even the video games, like, if you are a little more. If you know a little more, then it's not the same thing. It's people who, and this is why the Star Wars fandom's so toxic, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm trying to make this as toxic as little toxic as possible. That's what I'm trying to get at. I don't want to come and attack. I think the actors, for the most part, are doing their best. I think there are tons of actors that I don't think should be in the Star Wars film, or I guess this TV show, because they obviously don't care and they obviously don't know what's going on. That being said, the Star Wars fandom is so toxic, and it's people who. What kills me is it's the division right now where people are like, "This is great," and people are like, "This is bad." I'm in the middle where I'm like, I don't really. Like, it's 2 episodes. I'm not happy with it, but I'm still gonna I'm gonna watch it. I said I wasn't gonna watch it, and then I was like, I can't just do that. I can't just veto it and be like, "Nah, I'm not gonna watch it," and then just die on that hill because I'll never know. That being said, there's a bunch of other stuff I missed in this episode. There's a Jedi break-in scene where, like, why does the Jedi temple have a door guard that's just a droid that can be easily shorted out and then the door just opens? Okay. Why is no one noticed that the guy they go to buy supplies from is a different guy now all of a sudden?
Yeah, that felt so lazy.
Yeah.
Like, for context, they're like, okay, cool, who could have poisoned the master? Oh, it has to be, like, the guy running the shop. I forget the words they use. And then they look in, and it's like, yeah, so, and he has, oh my days, I was saying this to Eldin. It was so funny because they got people with, like, London accents,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you really couldn't have got, like, a Manchester accent in there. But I thought it was so funny because he just goes, well, that's not the guy. It's like,
You just noticed
really?
that now? Yeah. Did you guys not go buy supplies? Like, she had to have been there for at least a couple days.
Exactly. And that's what I just didn't get because it felt so, like, somehow Palpatine Return-esque. It's like, really? So
Yeah.
all you have to say is that is not the guy. Like, it just sounded so poorly written. And again, like you, I don't want to sound toxic. I don't want to sound like, like I'm hating on everything. But I just think Star Wars has been hitting so hard recently that, like, something like this being, quote unquote, like this poorly received was almost like not needed.
Yeah.
But, well, again, I'll let you continue.
So then thank you, Justin, but you're doing a great job. I appreciate the commentary because you're keeping me honest here. You get towards the end of the episode, and, like, that's really it. Like, and then it's, like, episode 2, and it's a 2-parter episode, but, like, the first episode was so long and did not add anything to the plot. Like, you gave me some characters, great. I don't know who they are. I don't really care who they are. They're new when you're making new characters, you have to make the first episode really catch me, and it didn't. Episode 2, again, is a 2-parter, and that's how you can kind of make episodes like a pilot. That's how you can get around them being bad, is by having 2 episodes you have to watch back to back. Episode 2 was like, 30 minutes? And I liked it a lot better. You get back in with, everyone knows it's May. Wow, they figured out who the bad guy is within the first episode. Is this Scooby-Doo? Like, what? Like, I don't really understand that. And then she's like, she's on like a hit list. So she got 1 Jedi Master, she got 2 Jedi Masters. And then she's trying to leave, but she got off the one planet within like a day. She didn't get off the second planet. She's still on the second planet. Like, what?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. It was like, so it takes, normally in Star Wars, you get catch people within space. We've seen that happen before throughout the TV shows, the movies, video games, adaptations. So I was kind of surprised too that this Acolyte, so not even a Sith, just an Acolyte, was able to go from planet to planet undetected. Yep. But in the same series, in the same episode where the Jedi were able to go from point A to point B to point C, in point 2, it seemed, to arrest an innocent Osha. Well, so it's like you did all that and somehow got there while she was going there. Like, I didn't really understand that either, to be honest.
And then you have the sequence where, okay, so then you have Soul confront, they know this knockoff Ezra Miller guy. He doesn't even know, like, this is my thing too. He is like he's like mixing things. He's helping her assassinate these Jedi. Why? Like, who is this guy? Why do I care? Like, he's not, and Sith don't subcontract out. Like, Darth Maul had to kill him by himself. Not like be like, okay, you grab a bunch of friends and go try your best. Call me if he doesn't succeed. We don't know who this master is, and also, why would this master care? Like, give me, like, you have to kill 4 Jedi without a weapon. To prove what? Like, what's this going to do for this? Like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
But she's using knives. That's a weapon.
Yeah, on that note, too, it's like, so she's using knives. And I made reference to this as well, but I actually said it as a joke, but I'll say it truthfully now. It just seems like they're taking part of the plots from Kill Bill. Yeah. So for context too, she pulls up on all the Jedi. I forget if you said this, but she legit goes, "You and I have unfinished business." And I'm like, okay, it's straight out of Kill Bill. Yeah. And her kill list is 4. Yeah. The same way Kill Bill's was 4. The bride Beatrix, she had 4 people on her list. She had to kill in the same fashion. Like, Come on, and
It's so
come
bad.
on.
It's so bad. And then so the story, and again, people online are defending that, oh, how can you be angry at the story if it's only 2 episodes? Well, you have to start with a good story, though. You have to have a good starting point. If you don't have a good starting point, what's the point of watching it? Why am I going to watch this if the first 2 episodes are bad? That's how you lose out. The last season of Bad Batch wasn't very good. It kept me up because I was like, hey, this is going well. It's keeping the story. I've already hook, line, and sinker. I can't get off it because the first season was amazing. That's how you do it. You don't just have a brand new season. You're like, hey, the first 2 episodes are kind of rough, but once you get to episode 5, that's when it's really good. I can't do that with a new thing. This episode's really cool, though. As much as I'm hating on it, you have Soul confronting May and this cool fight scene, and at this point, for some reason, now she's going for his lightsaber. You notice that in the fight, she's trying to grab his lightsaber. Why? She didn't do it for the first 2 Jedi. Why could she not beat Soul if she has a lightsaber? Cool. And then Yord is kind of just I don't know, scouting it. He's just watching it with binoculars. It's I think it's very interesting. X-23 is up in the plane. Again, I'm not going to nitpick. It came out yesterday. So I'm not going to I don't want to nitpick, or I guess 2 days ago, because it was supposed to come out Wednesday, which it didn't come out at 7 o'clock. So what time does it come out on Wednesdays? Because I was up at 7 and I wasn't there. 7 p.m. that is. Then I went to bed and then I woke up and I watched it. So there's a lot of things. This episode was cool because you had, again, Soul very much showing how well trained he is. And he keeps saying, your master didn't train you well. And it's who is your master? You couldn't tell me if you did. He hasn't told you yet. And it's okay, that's kind of smart. I'm okay with that. Sith Lord's not telling you, hey, my name is Darth Pelagius. Go do this for me. If the Jedi tell you, just say it wasn't me. I like how she doesn't know to tell who it is. That's okay with me. Which makes me think this isn't actually a Sith Lord. It's like a Sith apprentice. That's what I'm going to bank on that it's a Sith apprentice. I really hope it is, because if it's not, I'm not happy. But that's kind of how it is anyways. Who am I to say I'm not happy? So then the whole thing goes on. Episode's cool. May and Osha have a situation where they run into each other. There's a cool fight scene. It's a very small episode, and a lot more happens in this episode, which I think is good. People have short attention spans. The story moves on quickly. Now she's hunting the Wookiee, because they said that in the first episode. How, if you can't even take on a sleeping Jedi, how are you supposed to kill a Wookiee? Good question, actually. That's a great question. And then it kind of moves quick. There's a cool thing where they have May pinned, and she kind of looks at the ground and sees hey, this is kind of loose gravel. And then there's this cool force blast, and then it sends the gravel everywhere, and it makes a big dust stream, and she's gone. She runs away. That was really cool. I like that. That was really cool. No one's drawn their lightsabers yet. No one's drawn them, because apparently Jedi only draw their lightsabers when they plan to kill, which is news to me. Then from there, you have May and Osha run into each other. Osha misses, stunning her. Classic. I thought she did it on purpose at first, and then I realized she's just a really bad shot, because she fires again and totally misses. Soul calls Vanessa Rowe, and she's like, this is even more troubling than it has been. That's 2 Jedi Masters killed now. You have to come back and talk to us, because we have to talk about what's going to happen. And he's like, we're already here. We know where she's going next. Why can't we just go after her? And she's like, well, you can't, because that's not how we work. Get back here now. Why? You have a Jedi Master, a Jedi Knight, and a Padawan, and you know where the Sith assassin's going, and you're almost there. And now they're going to this wellness retreat where this Wookiee lives, which is the dumbest thing in the world. Why don't you go to Kashyyyk? Also, it's a blonde Wookiee, which they're brown. Again, black Wookiees like Black Chrysanthemum don't happen naturally. White Wookiees I think it's some guy who runs Chewbacca's clan. That doesn't happen often. Blonde Wookiees also don't happen that often. So now you've got you're just adding and adding and adding and adding to things I don't want. Then you see the Wookiee. His little belt around his waist looks a lot like Chewbacca's, I guess, but it's not. It's like a little purse. Force pulls a blaster, breaks it over his knee. Cool. That's a Wookiee thing to do. And then that's it. Did I miss anything major?
No, I don't think you did, from especially episode 2. Just overall, my initial thoughts on the second episode is I did think it was a lot better. As much as I do have gripes, I think my gripes come more with episode 1 than they do with episode 2. I also wanted to say that I thought that, for me at least, May kind of develops... How do I put this? Okay. the way May feels at the end of episode 2 is how I would have thought she would have felt at the end of like episode 5 or 6.
Yeah.
She goes from this Sith acolyte that's trying to kill Jedi, kills a couple Jedi, to now vulnerable. And
my sister's alive?
My sister's alive? No, you lie. And the way she says it was, oh my God, like she's alive. What am I doing here? Why am I not with her?
It feels very much like Luke yelling at Darth Vader at the end of, episode 4.
And that's episode 5. Yeah, that's a great way to put it too, because like that's so much content before you get to no, Luke, I'm your father, versus all but an hour and 10 minutes. Because episode 1 is about 45 minutes, and then episode 2 is about 30, like you said. So I think that's maths. 75 minutes. So an hour 15. So it's like,
good job. That was quick.
In it, So, and I'm kind of like, okay, so is she a good guy, a bad guy? Do I feel bad for her? What am I supposed to feel? You know, because now she's this poor girl that discovers her sister's still alive, and maybe she's made the wrong choice. Yeah. But we're like 2 episodes in.
And now what? She's gonna stop hunting down Jedi? Like, what's the point of this? Like, oh, you lie. You lie. First of all, why does Soul telling her that her sister's alive going to do anything? Like, why telling her that? Why would I lie about that? What's it going to do for me? Oh, I'm going to turn a new leaf. I'm going to turn myself in. And also, May hasn't, like, they haven't told where May was trained. So Osha was trained with the Jedi, and then she quit. Osha was disbarred, we'll say. That Vanessa Rowe was kind of integral to getting, and Dara was integral to her getting, like, kicked out. So the list of people that have wronged Osha have also wronged May, and May's taking them out, but they also have all wronged Osha. But they don't tell you how Master Tobin wronged her, and then Master Tobin just takes the poison because he feels really bad, and he has been for 10 years, so he's a powder puss. And then he's like, and now the Wookiee's gonna, like, what, feel bad too? They're Jedi Masters. Like, your life is so important. If you said Tobin was, like, disillusioned with the Force and he was tired of being a Jedi, that's one thing. You didn't do that, though. You gave him a cop-out and just said, here's some poison, buddy. Oh, good, I've been waiting for you. That's it. Like, that's the end of the story. Like, that doesn't help at all. With that being said, though, I think I've gone on long enough. I think if you want to check it out, check it out. Like, I'm not saying it's the worst Star Wars thing I've seen. I still think the sequels are terrible. Like, the sequels are terrible. At least episode 8 and 9 are. Episode 7's okay. I don't think this is by any means going to make or break the Star Wars franchise. I really hope that Disney starts letting I don't want to say real, because Kathleen Kennedy, like, she's done a lot of good movies, but she's not doing a good job with this. Like, this director openly said, I don't care if you think it's bad. Really? And, like, then they have, like, and, like, the talk shows are just annoying too, because it's not even a narrative. It's just like her ideas, after she even said she doesn't even watch Star Wars that much. Like, how do you direct a Star Wars film or Star Wars franchise when you don't really care? So as a fan who watches this, it hurts. You know, elephant in the room, it is, it was released in June, and it's very, like, LGBTQ plus, which is not a problem. Like, it's Star Wars. It can be a world where there is never an issue. Like, that's the thing, is like, we had confirmed gay, non-binary, all kinds of characters like that in the past. So that if you're using that excuse to hate the Acolyte, it's the wrong excuse. If you're using, anti-sentiments, give your head a shake. That's not worth it. Like Star Wars is Star Wars for everybody. And the big thing is, don't find little things to, like, the little things that actually matter in our world to pick on like what actually ruins the story. Who the actor is, I don't care. Yes, I care that, Yurd's character or Yurd's actor has no idea what he's talking about. That matters to me. But his character is still in it. I don't hate the character for the actor. I just don't like the character. So don't blame the actors in a lot of senses. We hurt Hayden Christensen so badly. And, like, I don't ever want to do that to somebody. Like, we bullied him off of social medias. Like, he was gone. And then he came back as Anakin for Ahsoka, and that was fantastic. And for Obi-Wan. But don't do that again. Like, these people deserve at least common decency. So with that being said, I got nothing else to say, Justin. You want to say anything else?
Yeah, I do just want to wrap up quickly. So I will say on my end, a couple things that I liked. So first of all, just the main one. I did really like the visuals. It looked really good.
If you want to put up that other picture too, because I got the last picture.
Yeah, with these lads here. Just now touch on these characters too. The middle guy, his name is, give me all but 2 seconds, is Kimir. I don't know how you, I'm not really good with names, but it's Qimir.
Yeah.
I don't mind him, honestly. I'm intrigued by the character. I also love that he just outstrengthed May out of nowhere. Like, that was also kind of weird.
Yeah.
May sneaks up on him and he dodges the attack and pins her up and is like, what are we gonna do? Okay, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Yord, done with him. And then this character here on the end, that is X-23, as we call her, but it is actually Jackie Lawn. I'm intrigued because she seems cool, she seems down to earth, and it doesn't seem like a character.
She also hates Yord.
Yep, she does.
So she's immediately A+ in my book.
So there you go. So I like these certain characters. I don't love, I don't hate, but I also will say that I did really enjoy the couple fights that we got, despite the flaws. You know what? I'm not gonna put this on the scale of like Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Maul or like Obi-Wan versus Anakin. They were solid. We've seen worse. We've seen better. With the ending of the Wookiee, I thought that was such a cool scene.
You know,
using the Force and breaking the blast. Like, it was good. So it did have its moments.
Yep.
Was it amazing? No. Was it better than I thought it would be? Yes. Does that say a lot? I don't know. I don't believe it necessarily deserves its 23%, honestly, after watching it. But when it was at 35%, yeah, I'd probably give it like a 3.5.
I think it's 27% right now.
27? Okay,
I think so. I think we got a picture. I had a picture of it. I think it is 27%.
I think some of the critics, before it even comes out, maybe even such as us, a bit harsh. But now that I've seen the couple episodes, that like I definitely did not need this, and I still stand with everything that I said. However, there are a couple lights within this dark tunnel, so only time's gonna tell how much we like or hate this. But honestly, like, I thought it was gonna be a lot worse, and I'm just gonna put it out there now. Unless something crazy happens, like Darth Plagueis gets introduced, or we see Star Killer, or like some sort of like General Grievous reference, or maybe they introduce Batman in the Star Wars universe. I don't necessarily think we're gonna discuss this again until it ends, and I'm okay with that because I don't know if I want.
I'm not doing a weekly recap.
So with that being said, in about 6 weeks we'll come back to this because I think there's 8 episodes. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, I can't wait.
So with that being said, this was well worth it, the Acolyte Hour edition of the Screen Chat. So thank you so much, obviously, for doing this. And any other closing thoughts for you?
Just want to say, everyone is entitled to their own opinions. Don't attack each other. We're all fans of the same thing, and like, I don't want to, like, the not my Star Wars stuff, get rid of it. Like, everyone's a fan for a reason. Just try to enjoy it. It could be a lot worse. That's all I'm saying. It could be the Star Wars Christmas special. Like, that is really bad. So with that being said, my name's Eldin Atkin. Behind the scenes is Justin Atkins, no relation. And
yes, relation.
No relation. Anyway, so that being said, this has been Screen Chat. I hope you enjoyed. Again, don't hate each other. And with that, enjoy. And we'll catch you next time at 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Fridays, only on rightradio.ca, live from the Media Hub. And we will catch you next time.